Oh, hey, Jess.
Hi,
How
James.
you doing?
I'm good. I'm doing good. I had a week off,
How's the
annual
week?
leave.
Yep. How's your dad?
He's doing good. He's doing good. Everything's all chilled and relaxed now.
Perfect. You need some of that. You
Yeah, you
having a
need
tea?
some relax. Yeah, I'm drinking this it's an Asian thing, but it's my new craze. It's called chrysanthemum tea.
Never heard of that.
And it's really, really nice. It's just slightly sweet. And instead of drinking heaps of coffee, which I broke that today, I've been quite good for the past 7 days. I had 2 coffees today, where normally I would just drink one coffee and then never-ending supply of chrysanthemum tea, and then I'm all good.
Wow.
But yeah, this is like really good. It's
Okay,
just
I have to
slightly
try
sweet
it.
because it's like sometimes you're in the mood for water. Water's great, you need it, but sometimes you need something sweet. Chrysanthemum tea. It's hard to find. You have to go to the Asian grocery stores. It can't be found at Woolies or Coles. It's good. I'm enjoying it.
There you have it.
And then because of, Squid Game, and then when you go on TikTok, it's all Squid Game. I started doing like eating all these like different Korean noodles, like 2-minute noodles. And some of them are freaking hot. Like they're just unbelievably hot.
Watch out, Ring of Fire.
Exactly. Literally. So then I stopped doing that and I'm like, I'll just stick to the tea.
Yeah. Nice.
How's your week
Nice,
been?
nice. My week's been a week. So I left my job
You did.
on Monday, started a new job on Tuesday, and worked Tuesday, Wednesday. And then I had yesterday off, have today off, and have tomorrow off. And then back to work on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Full time, 10-hour days, Sundays, Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and then Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays off. So it's four full days, 40 hours, but hey, we get 3 days off.
I get 3 days off at least. That's something better than nothing. Not many people can say that. Do you like it?
And also I kind of think I think it's better in terms of just working harder and longer for 4 days. You know what I mean? Like, let's just chuck it in.
Yeah.
Let's just throw it in.
Yeah.
And then, we can just enjoy the rest of the time. So far it's good. The day goes really quick, a lot of work. Like, it's like never ending. So I feel like I just work, but then the day's over, if that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, it's
So
weird, that dynamic, isn't it? It's kind of like for me when I work on a public holiday and it's dead. And then you're just like, oh, you're just looking at the clock and you're like, is this worse than actually being extremely busy?
Yeah, I think
Bit of both,
I
I
prefer
think.
being extremely busy.
Yeah.
Because you just look at the clock and you're like, oh shit, it's lunchtime. Then you go have lunch, and then you come back from lunch and you're like, oh shit, it's my next break. And it's that thing. And then you're like, oh shit, it's 5. It's like, pack up, go home.
It gets like that.
I will admit, I'm more tired, I think, just because it is a longer day.
But still, you just started. Like always, even if it's like an easier job than your last, you're bound to get tired. Just
Yeah,
the
it's actually
adjusting.
more harder than my last job.
Yeah.
I was freaking out my first day. I was like, what the hell did I do? I just left something. I'm like, can I call them and be like thing? But it was all fine. I just like was having, a bad, one of those bad days because change has happened.
Yeah.
And you're not familiar to it. So then I was having like an anxiety attack, being like, you've made the worst decision of your life. And I was like, James, calm down. So I went for a walk. And then I went back the next day and I was like, it's not as bad. You make mountains out of molehills.
And it's quite easy to do.
It's just different. It's just different. Like, stop comparing them.
Yeah.
It's just different.
It's very different.
Not familiar.
It's interesting. I was having this conversation today with someone and I was like, I'm saving up for a house. Yeah. And then I'm just like, every cent I get, I'm just like putting it into the, this account. And then I'm just like, at the end of the day, it's interesting how your mind just wants to get to the target, just wants to get to the target. And I've been like that for quite some time it's a habit. And then when I get to the target, I'm like, oh shit, I'm not ready. Oh shit, it's actually not time to do this. But it's all about, no, I need to get there. And it becomes like a crazy, insane thing.
I think like the biggest thing as well is that like there's never a perfect time. Like that's been coming up for me a lot lately. And a lot of people have been saying it. It's like you got to get out of this habit that it's just like not a perfect time, and just start realizing that, hey, some things are meant for you, some things aren't meant for you, all in its time. You can think like that. But also at the same time, it's like you want something, you got to go after
I get it 100%. And that's the thing. Like if I, at the end of the day, go to an auction or I go, you put an offer in for a house, at least I've done it. And then I have enough money or whatever. At least I've done everything in my power that I can go to sleep at night, not saying to me, my soul will say, you've done everything in your power. Now leave it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, I always used to do more than that. And then I'm just like, surely by doing the extra mile, people would be recognizing. And then you're like, no, it doesn't, it doesn't work like that at all. No, so it's like
you
balance.
Just need to go show up, go do your bit, and then take your step back, go to sleep. And if it's meant to be, it will be. Like you put in the offer, if it's meant to be your one, if not, and then if it's not, okay, you go somewhere else and you keep looking.
It's that fear. It's the fear of not, you want the fantasy. Yeah. You want the fantasy and you're gunning for it, but you're not actually seeing the nightmare that it could potentially be. So it's like just calming down and just accepting and doing what you can. You can't just let the world pass you by. It's the whole balance. Like we talk about balance on basically and this is the main thing I've realized from this podcast. Every topic, whether it's something crazy or something really meaningful or something casual, we always end up saying balance. It's so important. And that's so hard. Is so important. Yeah.
It's just like
the only way, I would say.
I think like when you really think about the whole universe and the whole way of everything, is that Mother Nature has a way of balancing out things, of equalizing every reaction with something else. Like everything has an opposite here on this earth. So I think it's very important that you come to realize that by looking on the external, you can kind of get a sense of what internally you need as well. Yeah. And that all really comes back to, cycles, seasons, opposites, cause and effect. And then when you think about all that, you're like, oh, all I need is the balance of things. Oh, that's simple. But it's not like, it's simple, but it's not simple, if that makes sense.
I think the human mind complicates it. When it is something basic, I would say. Just being in the moment. It's very basic, but how much of your mind is like, oh, maybe there's something I'm missing. Maybe there's something I can do. I can talk to this person and that person in order to get ahead. And then you start going nuts. And then you're just like, it's actually not authentic. And the things that are authentic are the things that last, where you didn't have to fight so hard.
Yeah, it's always
fought hard. Yeah. Or when you feel like you need to fight hard for something and it feels authentic at the same time, it's very weird. But when you know when you're acting out of fear. I know for me that when I'm acting, but I still do it, and I'm just like, see, Jess, you still didn't get the outcome because you bloody well knew.
Yeah, it's like your fear is perpetuating the problem.
Yeah, I get that.
And it's okay to get scared. I think I've learned that this week. I was having like a scared kind of moment, being like, have I made the right decision? and like having a bit of a panic attack. And I realized, like, James, just breathe. It's just different, something new. You're somewhere else, beginning of something new. Yeah.
100%. And kudos to you for making a change, You knew change was coming, and then it came, and then you grabbed onto the next chapter of your life with both hands. So well done.
Well, it was actually my colleague who's like, I think you need a change. Here's this job. Do you want to apply for it? I think you'd be really good. It's full-time. You're casual at the moment. You've been there casual a long time. Nothing's changed. They actually sent me a letter only the other week being like, we're not giving you full-time and all that kind of stuff. The place that I left. And then I was just like, yeah, I'll just apply for it. Didn't hear anything. And my friend's like, have you heard? Have you heard? I'm like, no, I didn't hear anything, whatnot. And then literally the next day, that afternoon, I get a phone call from the company and they're like, hey, we'd like you to come in, whatnot. So had the interview the next day. They're like, can we interview tomorrow? Had the interview the next day. And then they're like, we'll let you know tomorrow, which was the Friday last week. And then they didn't even call me. So I was like, oh, you mustn't have got it. And then I was just at work on Monday morning and they called about like 10 a.m. and they're like, hey, you got the job. You were successful. Love to offer you the job. You can have the night shifts or you can have the day shifts of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And I was like, yeah, I'll do that, just in terms of what's best for me. Like, I thought about it and I was like, I don't really want to be doing crazy hours at night and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, I know I'm missing out on a Wednesday, but at least I'm getting a Thursday, a Friday, and a Saturday. So, I'm like, you can still catch up with, people on the regular shifts on a Friday night or a Saturday. It's fine.
Not bad. It's manageable.
Yeah, exactly. It's manageable. And, you're just working the daytime hours, so you can always catch up after that. So, yeah, just seeing the right balance. And so far, so good. I'm actually finding it interesting. Also, the days are going quick, which I like. I don't like, I like being busy. Being busy, it finishes, and then it's just good. And then obviously working on my music. So this week I got accepted to be on a music supervisors website. So they are the ones on TV shows and stuff, and movies, who try and find new placements. So they approved me and said that my music was up to a quality level, like they have a quality assurance team. So they said it was of quality enough to be successful and put onto their website. So they basically go around looking for so music supervisors go on there looking for songs that could fit advertisements, TV and whatnot.
Oh my God.
And the company takes a cut of 50% of whatever the deal is. So obviously you're kind of missing out a little bit, but at the same time you're getting exposure. So in those types of contracts, it's very much, a big chunk goes to the agency who found you the deal.
Always.
Yeah.
Name any artist in history. They're just like, but majority of it went for this, or court hearings. They always get some legality. Like, it's quite interesting, isn't it? But well done, James. That's because you've persevered throughout all of it, and it's your passion. I'm always seeing you record. You've bought new mics.
4 more songs coming, actually 5, including the one we're working on. And so there's 5 more songs coming. I'm trying to get it all done. I've been looking into, obviously I said I wanted to do vinyls. So I've been looking into the cost of that. Obviously with my new job, going to be able to fund that. Yeah, it is pricey. So. It's like $2,000 for like 100.
Holy crap, because it's always
gotta
so much
sell them
money for a vinyl just in general. I was
I've
the
got to sell
addict.
them for at least $25 in order to make $5 of each
Yeah.
one. But
It'll
I'm
be
like,
pretty damn
I'm
cool.
like, that would be good though.
Oh, it would be
So
good.
I want to do that. And yeah, I just kind of like, my goal was just to, sell my my record, and my website I've been working on. So that's almost done. The relaunch, I think I showed you a sneak peek,
Did.
which I'm excited about. And then I'm going to be filming a lot of stuff with Bonnie and probably yourself, and just
So
really
exciting.
looking forward to when we can get out and just make some more content, really.
Yeah, I'm keen to do like another photo shoot because that was
Yeah,
cool.
me
Like
too.
one day we just went to
Yeah,
Devil's Bend in Victoria, and we
yeah,
just took our clothes. Everyone was having a picnic, and we're just like with our different, like a whole bundle of clothes. And we just
yeah.
went to a certain part of Devil's Bend and just did what we could. And it's cool. Like I look back on those photos still, I have pretty much all of them, and I'm just like, oh,
It was such a fun day. Like when I really think about
what
it, it's
happened? Like
just
I
like
couldn't do something in
having
the
the
morning.
and having the
Yeah.
I think having the bravery to go out there and do something, takes a bit of initiative, takes a bit of planning and whatnot. But then also it's letting the magic happen. You've got the scene, you had your vision, and then it's just kind of improvising in the moment.
Yeah. And that's the best because you can visually
The
at
creativity
certain
of it. Yeah.
angles. But we were literally like on the ground near a tree, like just going with the flow, whatever. And then
Yeah.
certain light. I remember the clouds will come over and will be like, oh look, there's like a beam of light over there. Let's quickly go in the bush. Yeah,
And then
it's quite
the
cool.
colors of your hat matching the bush, and like all those little, tricks and trade of like looking out for like moments of, interest and like all that kind of stuff. I think that's like what I'm also looking forward to, is those little moments of I guess creativity that you can capture.
Yeah, you need
So
it. I need it too because you feel. I remember when we filmed your music video for Driver Roulette. You feel it. It's just wow, I did it. Even though it was
I
for you,
know.
I'm just like shit. Like we spoke about that for how long? We're just like, let's do it. Let's do it like this day and that day. And we're like, no, this is the day. And we just went for it the best that we could in the moment. What more can you
Yeah,
ask for?
I'm actually really looking forward to just like also doing like a road trip. Like I thought about that too, of just like there's so much of Victoria. I know like everyone's like, oh, international travel, but there's so much of Victoria that I haven't seen.
Mm,
And kind of just like your own backyard. Like it doesn't need to be expensive. You don't need to go like crazy and whatnot. But like I feel like so often we go, oh, we're gonna go overseas to have like a real, cultural kind of experience, where I think that's a little bit
the thing is, at one
not
point,
opening up your perspective, I guess.
yeah,
It's
but
like you
at
don't
one
need to
point
go.
it was like more cheaper to go out than in. But now I think
Yeah,
with COVID, that's flipped where you can, you know,
yeah.
I keep getting flights for Fiji. I get like 5 emails from flights, and I'm just like, what's with this Fiji, man? Like,
Maybe you need to go.
maybe it's a sign I should go to I wouldn't mind going to an island and just chilling on a beach. You know,
Yeah,
why
that
not?
would be nice. I actually was thinking about that. I was like, a beach holiday would be pretty nice, but like there's heaps
Yeah,
of beautiful beaches even here. So I
yeah,
was just
I
like, you
agree.
don't need to travel that far. I'm like, you could just go down the coast and then just, you know, um, find someone with a holiday house down there and be like, hey, can we use it?
Yeah, it's so cool. And
Yeah.
there's heaps of people willing to help, especially now.
Yeah.
Yeah, people need the income.
And
If not,
also
they
it's
would have
like
sold
when you
their
really think
investment
about it,
properties. Mm,
yeah, when you also think about it, it's like you can do day trips to places as well. Like you don't have
yeah,
to go and spend all this money. But
great.
yeah.
Good chat.
Um
I like it. I like it.
yeah, it's been one of those weeks. It's
It's been
felt
one of
really long
those
too.
It's weird because I basically in lockdown in Melbourne, I took the week off and it's still, I get to sleep in, but then at the end of the day, it's kind of like, it's still so exhausting. And I don't know what it is. Like you do your chores around the house like usual, like I would quickly do after a shift. I'm like, why am I still exhausted? And is it because of the same environment? Am I doing the same thing on repeat? Is that what's exhausting here?
I think it's a little bit of that. It's just doing the same in, same out with no kind of stimulation.
Yeah. You need those bursts of your friend going, hey, do you want to come to this? Like I've got tickets or we have this reservation, you know, and those
The
things pop
randomness.
up. Yeah. The random.
Yeah, I miss the randomness of just like you coming over and being like, we're doing this, blah, 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 blah. Just the randomness of just like, oh, we're going for a drive here, then we just go wherever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing that I think, yeah, I can't wait for in terms of like summer is just the randomness of people being like back to that old kind of way of being like, what are you doing this weekend? Oh, we're going here. Like, you know what I mean? Like the
Yeah.
spontaneousness of like just, oh, okay, like, yeah, we'll
I
do
got
that.
exhausted. Like I got exhausted doing that, but I think it's the balance,
Yeah.
you know? And I
Having
captured
those
that like,
moments with them.
yeah. Like for me, last lockdown, I noticed like I would exhaust myself with like even before that, going out here, then everywhere. I have to do something, I have to do something. And then I noticed like when this other lockdown was over, you just calm down a bit. I think it's important.
Yeah.
But yes,
Would you,
Mhm.
yeah, do you want to introduce our topic for this week?
Well, this one was created by the lovely James, and he's
Oh,
smack bang on with this one. How there's movies and TV shows that have been dubbed incorrectly when translated into English, or even English to another language, like language in general. Like the English language, there's so many words that depict one thing. Yeah. So when you actually like I with Squid Game, it's become a trend that the old lady, not really old, but the elderly lady in it is basically she was portrayed incorrectly with certain lines in the script that actually flipped your thought of the character. And even like the serious moments in like Squid Game, I thought was kind of comical because it's the voiceovers that sound like this. They must sound English, and you're just like, it doesn't capture the human being. And sometimes I would flick to Korean because I'd just be like, I just want to see what their emotion is. But yeah,
you don't
James came
want to
up with
hear
this
the
one.
American accent.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so, and someone Miss Maroon, so a teacher from high school, commented on Instagram on our podcast, and she was like, yeah, there's been heaps of Jackie Chan movies that have been incorrectly dubbed throughout time, and that's created a bit of and it's a shame really, because you don't get to capture the essence of what the writer is portraying, you know.
I think it's like so important is that the writer really has like a purpose behind the characters. And then a lot of the time translators don't do an accurate job of thinking about the context and the seriousness of what the lines, you know, the essence of the words are, and breaking it down, being like, it actually can mean this as a quick way of thinking about how to translate this very quickly, or, you know, a little bit of reflection and reading through a script and being like, oh, but I think it's very hard because most translators are in the business kind of mentality of being able to just quickly get across the idea,
yeah,
and not really thinking about the context of it. But also I think like on a world stage, when you think about the United Nations and countries sitting down together, how often this must happen where
so true.
they're misunderstanding, you know, what someone's tone is, mistaking someone sometimes can come across very harsh, and that's more a cultural thing. Like in some cultures it's better just to be blunt and it's considered polite in their culture to be blunt. In other cultures, politeness doesn't really exist. So it's just about being truthful. Like you just say what you want to say, no filter. And that's kind of how it goes. Then you have in the Western world where it is that politeness, the please, the thank yous, you know, saying something really nice to someone, even though you can be a bit of a bitch behind their back.
100%.
But I think like a lot of like films and TV shows and that have those kind of problems is that we are trying to quickly get across the communication of the idea so quickly because the person's speaking it. So you're trying to translate it quickly to someone. But often languages have gaps. And in those gaps, you're trying to find an equivalent. And often in languages, there is no equivalent. It's a cultural kind of thing, and it's hard to explain the whole history and context behind
We'll be here all
some
day.
ideas.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, how do I translate this? And the person goes, oh, I understand it, but it's like, can they truly understand the context of it because it's so cultural?
It's probably a lot of things like it's a very hard, imagine if you're translating something from Dutch to English and then you get subtitles on top of it. Like imagine if it was translated from Dutch to English and then you have, it's very difficult to capture the essence. It's kind of just like in Australia, we're quite used to the American, even the UK way of speaking, the mannerisms. We've picked up on it since day one, like ever since we were growing up.
Translate very well, like you're saying. They translate very well because our culture here in Australia, because of the colonialism, is connected to the English culture. Those people came out here and created a colonial state of Australia, and they very much whitewashed it, meaning like they came and basically got rid of what culture was here from the Aboriginals and colonialized it with their culture of English humor, traditions,
standards,
and all those kind of things.
It's so true.
So you see a lot of those films do so well here. And I think compared to America, because America has its own way of dealing, and takes itself very seriously in terms of, you know, they did fight for independence. They have a seriousness to them in their protection of their rights and their freedoms. You know, land of the free and all that kind of stuff is very much America. So when it comes to the, you know, those movies, they have this real serious tone of not making fun of oneself. And I think that's tied back to, you know, their history of fighting for their independence and fighting, you know,
it's that thing though, where the different cultures are probably the same thing, but just interpreted differently as well.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like understanding. I think that's the interesting part. Like it's kind of like when you watch the actors in like Jimmy Fallon, like Squid Game, and they're just like, how did this become viral? Sort of a look on their faces. Like it's just a phenomenon. That's just, who would have thought?
Yeah.
And it's cool that we're getting more stuff like, even like, I remember watching like even Indian movies when it's translated, like they've got some really, the core of those stories actually quite interesting. And name any culture, German, French, all of them. It's just getting them on a streaming service, which was Netflix, in order to expose. So it's one thing that's come out of not going to Blockbuster, I guess, and actually sticking to streaming.
Yeah, definitely. I had like a little funny little short segment, which I was gonna go through right now, to break it up, obviously, because we've gone a bit serious into the topic. I was like, let's make it a little bit lighter. I found this article online, which I thought was pretty funny. So it's just about the mistranslations of titles. So excuse me while I go for a second.
All right.
So this article was written on cultures connections, and it's just talking about the mistranslations of a lot of titles, movie titles. So we all know the movie Knocked Up.
Yeah.
In China, it was called One Night, Big Belly.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Next one was Dirty Dancing.
Oh, okay. What was that?
It was in Quebec. It was called Lascivious Dance.
Jeez.
And then Scary Movie in Quebec was called Film of Fear.
Hmm.
And then Leon was in China called This Killer Is Not As Cold As You Thought.
Oh my gosh.
And then Due Date was called in Thailand The Journey of a Strange Couple at the Time of a Tumultuous Birth.
Oh.
And then Boogie Nights was called in China His Big Camera Makes Him Famous.
Jeez.
And Chicken Run was called Fugitive Chickens in Quebec.
Quebec, man. Leading.
Yeah, and As Good As It Gets in China was called Mr. Cat Poo. And then, you know, The Sixth Sense?
Yeah.
In China, it was called It's a Ghost.
Just put it out there. Wow. Just ruined it.
Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me, was in Malaysia changed to Austin Powers, The Spy Who Behaved in a Very Pleasant Way Around Me.
Hmm.
And then Guardians of the Galaxy was called The Unusual Interplanetary Attack Team.
That's a bloody mouthful.
And then Silver Linings Playbook was called My Boyfriend is a Psychopath. Top Gun in Israel was called Love in the Skies.
Love in the Skies.
Greece was called, you know, Greece.
Grease.
In Argentina was called Vaseline.
As in like nice. I get it, but
Yeah,
wow.
Vaseline. Yeah. And then Vaseline, sorry. And then Leaving Las Vegas was called I'm Drunk and You're a Prostitute.
Wow.
And then Toy Story 2 was called History of Toys in Quebec 2.
We're back.
And then in Japan as well, being John Malkovich was Malkovich's Hole.
Wow.
And then Shawshank Redemption was called 1995 Fantastic or 1995 Excitement or 1995 Stimulation. And the producers, the movie was called Please Don't Touch Old Women in Italy.
Oh dear.
And then Pulp Fiction was called in Quebec Pulpy Fiction.
No comment. Imagine going to these countries and trying to illegally download movies. Yeah, I'd be like, oh yeah, okay, let's do it. And it's all titled differently.
Yeah.
I know Suddenly 30 is sometimes 13 going on 30. That really stuffed me up because I really liked that film. And I'm like, which one is it?
Which one is it? Yeah. That was a good movie, Suddenly 30.
Great. That's good, James. That is real.
Yeah,
good.
I was just trying to lighten it up.
Why not? Need a bit of
the
lightness.
topic. So
Mhm.
yeah, there's a lot of, mistranslations, lost in translations out there, misunderstandings that happen. But I guess that kind of makes good comedy, doesn't it? Because comedy is a lot of misunderstandings.
Oh, that was offensive. No, it wasn't. It was just sarcasm.
Yeah.
That's a good one. A lot of people
Yeah.
can't interpret sarcasm.
No. Sarcasm's the lowest form of wit.
Hmm. But good topic. I like this one. Good one. Because it's all over the place. They're like, Squid Game was misinterpreted. I'm like, oh my God. Isn't everything?
I think a lot of like all of this is like tied back to like even like books. And it's just like, how much do we know of these ancient books if they have been misinterpreted?
Ooh.
Everyone has an agenda when they, read something or the way they want to say what a word was, and then it gets translated into a new language from an old language. And scholars go, oh, this means this means this. And then other people are like, well, it also, like they all mean different things and all that kind of stuff. Two. And I think that's like a big thing in terms of language. It's like, how much of it do we actually know? Because it's now just history that's been interpreted by scholars years and years later. It's like, maybe they were just talking about something different.
They're just like, oh no, this is a huge interpretation. It's life-changing. Yeah. Just don't know.
Yeah.
And it's scary, isn't it, that your work that you can do right now can be misinterpreted in 500 years. It's just crap.
Basically.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy.
I like it though. I like it. Well done, James.
Yeah.
You little superstar artist, you.
Oh, stuff that.
I'm getting the first autograph. I'm just putting it out there right now.
Getting the first signed copy, but you're going to be on it. So
I'm going to be on it. I'm going to be on
have
it.
to sign it too.
Imagine if you have the vinyl and it's like full of your creation, just like a small little section is just Jess, and she's just like
in the background.
It's in the background. Oh, is that Jess? Oh, I didn't see you there. Well, I'm on it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Bye, James.
We actually need to record that. Bye.
Oh, we do need a record, and it will happen. We just need lockdown to stop. We'll make it happen. We are people that make things happen, so I wouldn't worry.
Yeah.
Comment, like, subscribe. Bye.